I'm Mike Stelzner from Social Media Examiner, and you're watching Interview Connections TV.
Hey everyone, it's Jessica Rhodes, and I am really energized and pumped up because it is the Monday after Podcast Movement, and I had such a good time. I know that in the past few weeks I've been talking about Podcast Movement and telling everyone come to my session at 1:30, and it just went really well. I had such a good time. You know, I've been to a lot of business conferences in the past, and they're all informative and fun, and I always meet lots of great people, but at this conference was really special because not only did I learn a lot of great things, but I felt like I was amongst friends. And we had a really fun time at the House of Blues on Saturday night, and just want to give a shout out to the founders of Podcast Movement. All four of you did an amazing job putting this conference together. It was such a well-oiled machine. It was fun. It was just very well done, and I am so excited for the next one in 2015. And in today's episode, I wanted to, kind of talk about an issue that came up when I was having a conversation with a friend of mine at Podcast Movement, a fellow entrepreneur who has a podcast, and we've known each other for, several months now. And when I was talking to him, I was saying, hey, how's your business going? How's the podcast going? Tell me what's new. We hadn't talked in a few months. And, his general feedback about everything that's going on, he said, I've been going to conferences, I'm in a couple mastermind groups, and I just kind of feel like I'm getting a lot of information, and I am very overwhelmed with what to do with it. You really have to know what information to take and what to leave behind, because I can tell you there were 250 people at Podcast Movement, I'm sure the majority of which have podcasts, and I guarantee you every single one of those people have a different opinion on what mic to use, how to record the program. I know my friend Michael O'Neill does not like call recorder. You've got to use a mixer. But my good friend Ben Kruger recommends call recorder. They're both amazing podcasters, but they have different opinions. When you're starting a podcast, when you're growing a business, be careful on how many cooks you let into the kitchen. This is why I recommend have a business coach and have a mastermind program. Don't join 3 different masterminds, ask questions in every single Facebook group that you belong, getting opinions from hundreds of different people that all think they're right. That can be very overwhelming. So make sure that, when you're growing your business and when you're starting and launching your podcast, be careful of who you ask advice from. And even if you're going to ask advice from a lot of people, don't take everyone's advice. I personally wouldn't recommend being a member of more than one mastermind group because you have way too many people telling you what you should and should not do in your business, and everyone has a different opinion. So I hope that helps you, okay? Because I can just tell you, when I was flying back from Podcast Movement, I was so energized. I actually came up with a really good idea for a podcast. If you're watching this, I've been doing my videos since March, and I love them, and I'm going to keep doing these videos. I really enjoy them, and I like blogging. I've got to add podcasting to the platform, so I need to figure out the best way. I don't have an extra 10 hours a week, so I've got to figure out the best way to create a really great podcast that's unique. I didn't just want to be another marketing show, so I'm excited. I'm not going to share with you too much right now. I know this will be the topic of my profit seat on my mastermind call, and that is exactly who I will be asking advice from. So thank you so much if you have advice, but again, I'm going to take my own advice, and I'm going to limit my questions just to my coach and my mastermind group. And I'm going to take, I'm going to really absorb a lot of what I've read from, Jared Easley has an excellent new book. I believe it's I'm sorry, Jared, I forget the name of the book, but it's something to do with collaboration. I'm sure you can find it on Amazon. I'm a little brain dead from being in a conference all weekend. I'm actually trying to take the day off, but I need an episode for tomorrow, so I turned on the camera. I think I'm rambling on a little bit, so I'm going to close this episode out. So I definitely recommend getting Jared Easley's book on podcasting. It's in the Amazon store. It was 99 cents when I got it, so definitely check that out. And while you're there, or get my book on podcasting called Podcast Interviews in Amazon. And if you want to learn more about interviewconnections.com and how we can book great guests for your podcast, visit interviewconnections.com. If I met you at Podcast Movement, it was so fun meeting you. I had such an awesome time. And if I didn't meet you at Podcast Movement, get your butt there next year because it's where you need to be if you are starting or growing a podcast. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great productive week, and I will talk to you next Tuesday.